Planning Commission meeting to order. Welcome to the January 27th, 2026 Huntington Beach Planning Commission meeting. While the Planning Commission welcomes public involvement in free speech, it rejects comments from anyone that are discriminatory, defamatory, or otherwise not protected speech. Those comments will not be and will not inform or be considered by the Planning Commission and may cause the chair to interrupt the speaker. Such comments will not be consented to or otherwise accepted by the Planning Commission in its discussions and findings for any matter tonight. Thank you. All right, I'd like to call on Commissioner Palmer for lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you're able.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Okay, may we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Pellman,
here.
Vice Chair Bush,
Here.
Chair Theonis,
Here.
Commissioner Babineau,
Present.
Commissioner McGee,
Present.
Commissioner Palmore,
Here.
and Commissioner Goldberg. Here. We have a quorum.
All righty. Okay, now is the time for public comments for items that are not on the agenda. Do we have any public comments that are not on the agenda?
We currently have no one signed to speak up for items that are not on the agenda. Thank you.
Sweet. Okay, next on the agenda, we have the Code of Ethics. Mr. Ramos, can you please provide a report on that matter?
Yes, Chair and Commission, it's time for the annual Code of Ethics review, and we're basically asking each commissioner to once again review the city's Code of Ethics. That's it. Thank you.
Okie dokie. All right, next on the agenda is the nomination and election of the Planning Commission Chair. Do we have a motion?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion.
I'll second it. I know what you're going to. I'm psychic. I'm psychic.
We didn't discuss this, by the way. May I?
Yes, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve recommended action A, and that's to nominate and elect the 2026 Planning Commission Chair and Vice Chair based on Planning Commission seniority as established by the Planning Commission bylaws.
I'll second that.
Can you give us a name?
That would be Chair Brett Bush and Vice Chair Ken Babineau.
All right. Do we have a second from Commissioner Pellman, I believe?
Yes, I would like to second that, please.
Well, let's have a vote.
Oh.
Commissioner Theonis and Commissioner Palmer?
It's not. I voted.
Palmer.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, all ayes, motion carries.
I failed.
Thank you.
You want me to switch seats now or next year? That's fine. I don't want to move.
It doesn't matter where you sit, does it?
Mine's upside down. That might be what's wrong.
Are you going to move us?
It wouldn't upright itself. Oh, there it is. It wouldn't do that. I don't know. Thank you.
They should have made this wider. Or I should allow some.
Yes.
I would like all of the commissioners to go out in front of the dais, please.
Usually it's
Tell I'm a working man. I forgot my jacket. So I'd just like to recognize Ryan Peters for his service last year for Planning Commission 2025. Thank you for shepherding us into this. Please stay the entire year. You can't leave us here. Okay. Thank you very much. No picture? We good? Yes.
Thank you, we'll take a picture.
We should take a picture.
Take a picture.
Put it on Jill's phone.
Here we go, sorry about that.
Somebody sent me, your picture's not on there. I go, that's okay.
Put your cookie over there, too.
That's my cookie.
Oh,
I have one.
I'll bring that one.
Okay, so here we go. Do I need to re-gavel in, or are we still good under the current gavel? We'll carry on. So Planning Commission advisory boards and committees, since we're all coming back this year, is there anybody that's going to make a change, or are we all going to keep the same committees? Same committees, okay, good.
Same for me. Yeah.
Okay, good. So that will take care of, so next on the agenda is a discussion on the Planning Commission advisory boards and committees assignments. Commissioners can indicate which assignments they are interested in now or contact the chair separately to indicate their interest to review and approval by the chair. So at this point, if you guys want to change your minds at this point, we're going to keep the same, but if that changes, just contact me and I'll tell you you're staying, okay? I believe it's online.
It's one of the items.
Okay. Next on the agenda is a public hearing on the tentative track map number 19331, conditional use permit number 25-005, and coastal development permit number 25-003, Magnolia Coast. Planning commissioners, please state your disclosures regarding the item. Please start on my right with Commissioner McGee.
I spoke with Chair Bush.
I'm next, yeah? You ready? Okay, just checking. Okay, I met with, via video, the developers and also Mr. Ramos, and I think Jill Bose was there, right? No, it wasn't. It was, oh, Jason. Yes, that's it.
Can I also say I spoke with staff also? My apologies.
I spoke with Mayor Pro Tem Twining.
Oh, wait, I have to amend mine. I did speak with Mayor Pro Tem, Mayor, Casey McKeon. I was like listening to you. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Goldberg?
Yeah, so I attended one of a Zoom session with city staff and with the developer.
Ms. Palmer?
I spoke with Mayor Casey McKeon.
Yeah, I spoke with the applicant and staff regarding this matter, and Councilmember Burns.
And I spoke with Councilman Chad Williams, Commissioner Dominic McGee, and I talked with staff as well. And I think that was it for me. So Ricky announces that the senior planner, Jason Kelly, will give the presentation after the staff presentation.
Okay, go ahead, Jason.
All right. Thank you, Chair, members of the Planning Commission. The item before you tonight is a tentative track map, a conditional use permit, and a coastal development permit. The project is located at 21845 Magnolia Street, which is the old Magnolia Tank Farm site. The project is now being called the Magnolia Coast. Just a little background, back in 2021, the City Council approved the zoning of the Magnolia Tank Farm specific plan, which is SP 18. They also approved the general plan to residential medium, commercial visitor, open space conservation, and open space park. So with this request tonight, the first item is tentative track map number 19331. And what this map does, it breaks the existing 29-acre site into 7 letter lots and 6 numbered lots. The area designated for open space in the general plan will be divided into 6 letter lots, totaling 6.78 acres. The 7th letter lot will total 4.27 acres, which is designated as the private street. 13.63 acres is designated in the general plan for medium density residential and will be subdivided into 5 separate lots. And then the remaining 4.32 acres, which is designated for a commercial visitor, will be subdivided into 1 lot. The next request is conditional use permit 25005, which is to grade the site by importing approximately 425,000 cubic yards of soil onto the site. And this is, by raising this site, it is a requirement from the Coastal Commission and is stipulated in the specific plan, and that's to address future sea level rise. The second conditional use permit is required for the retaining wall because of the imported soil. Retaining wall will be retaining up to 10 feet in areas, and then it will be topped with a 7-foot wall. And this will be constructed on the north property line adjacent to the Ascon site. The design of the wall was reviewed and recommended approval to the Planning Commission by the Design Review Board back at their January 14th meeting. The final request is the coastal development permit, which is number 25-003, which, since the site is located in the coastal zone, the actual subdivision, the demolition, the grading, the construction of the retaining wall, and the construction of all on and off-site improvements require the approval of the coastal development permit. So based on the request, all the new parcels will comply with the minimum lot sizes. The import of the soil complies with the Coastal Commission's requirement to accommodate future sea level rise. The retaining and block wall is designed to comply with the city's design guidelines. The proposed project will begin to implement the general plan and zoning designation for the site, enabling getting it ready for future development. Staff did receive 3 emails tonight before the meeting, and they are in your agenda packet under as an attachment as late communication. So therefore, staff is recommending approval of tentative track map 19331, conditional use permit 2505, and coastal development permit 25003, based on the following: that it is consistent with the approved environmental impact report that was approved and certified by council. It's EIR number 17001. The project also meets the requirement of the Subdivision Mapped Act, and the request is supported by the goals and policies of the general plan. With that, that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for staff?
I do.
We'll start with ladies first.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So I just want clarification. My understanding, the retainer wall was also to keep the ASCON contamination away from this project site. Is that clear? Or is that?
The retaining wall,
Yeah.
because of the imported soil?
Yes. Well, no. I thought there was something that was to go into the ground that created a way so that a barrier, correct, yes.
Well, I believe the foundation will go into the ground to
Okay.
accommodate the retaining wall, which
Okay.
will hold the dirt on the Magnolia Coast site, and there will be no dirt on the Ascon site.
But the ASCON site that's contaminated will not be going vis-à-vis through the soil onto,
Correct, yeah, there will
okay.
not be any.
All right, I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
To my left, Commissioner Goldberg, you had a...
Yeah, just for point of clarity for this discussion before we hear from the public and everything else, this is the beginning. We're going to see this project come back to us at least 2 or 3 more times. This is just a big view of it, just to get this started and get the actual grading done, correct?
That's correct. It's preparing the site and putting in the streets within the project site for future residential and commercial development, which will come back to the Planning Commission with separate applications.
Commissioner Athenas?
Yeah, actually, Commissioner Pellman's point, I believe they are cement treating 10 feet below the footing, which should probably also provide an additional barrier along with soil stabilization. But also, this project is fully entitled. This was a prior city council that approved the number of units, and there is a development agreement in place that basically gives them the development rights, that they've already acquired the development rights. And really what we're doing tonight is just basically a formality, isn't it?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. It's just a formality to prepare the site for the future development, which council approved the specific plan, the zoning, the general plan, the number of units, the number or the commercial aspect of it. Everything's been approved by council through that specific plan.
And there are really no changes from the specific plan or the original approvals that are being presented tonight.
Correct, you're correct.
I guess the question I would have, since they're importing soil in, and you probably already stated, I just missed it, what is the height of the soil to grade, you know, when they import that soil? Do you know that?
I believe the existing site is, they'll be raising the site approximately 4 feet to what it is currently.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any other questions?
I have a question, a comment. I would just like to reconfirm that this project, and I'm endlessly familiar with it, has been approved for entitlements, but when we come to questions like the retaining wall, if you could communicate that is in addition to the underground barrier that we agreed upon, since we don't have the original plan in front of us. Thank you.
Commissioner Pellman?
Yes, I just wanted to point out that I thought, just for public information, that this is that the roads and et cetera will be maintained as a private entity.
Yeah, the park along with the roads are
Right.
all privately owned and
Yes.
maintained.
Yes, okay, just for the public, thank you.
I guess I'm going to ask one more question. The overall height then is 17 feet, right? We have a retaining wall that's 10 feet, and then we have a block wall on top of that, 7 feet. So I guess, is that retaining wall, obviously it's engineered to, is that height what would be required for 4 feet of soil? Is that how it calced out? Does that make sense? Because I'm concerned that you have overall 17 feet. Is there a privacy screening issue that, you know, because I imagine in commercial you can probably go up to 8 feet with it, you know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, the privacy on the Magnolia site, you will only see a 7-foot wall throughout the entire site, up to a 7. It could,
Good enough, okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
The Ascon site on the other side, there are areas that it is retaining up to 10 feet in a small area towards the rear of the property, plus the 7 feet.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay. With no further questions, we will now open the public hearing.
We currently have no one signed up to speak for this item.
Okay, good. No speakers. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
We have 2 seconds and a first.
Your pick, who seconded?
I'll go with Mr. Babineau. He's my vice chair now.
All right. Commissioner Palmer? Okay. We have all ayes, motion carries.
The Planning Commission's action is final unless an appeal is filed to the City Council within 10 days. An appeal must include the reasons for the appeal and the fee, and shall be filed with the City Clerk's office within 10 days.
Okay, next on the agenda item is a public hearing on conditional permit number 22-001, Coastal Development Permit number 22-009, the Huntington Club remodel and bungalow. Planning Commissioners, please state your disclosures regarding this item. I'll start on the right again.
I spoke with Chair Bush about this item.
I spoke with Mayor McKeon and Joanna Cortez, and there was a couple of residents who have own homes that line the property that we're discussing tonight. Thank you.
I spoke with Jonathan Bailey. I think he's sort of in charge of the project, with Chair Thenis, Commissioner Goldberg, and Mayor Pro Tem Twining.
We'll go Commissioner Goldberg.
Yeah, so I'm back at you with that. It was Chair Thenis and Commissioner Babineau, as well as the gentleman that did the, that'll be speaking tonight on behalf of the project. And Commissioner Gruel as well.
Councilor Brewer. Hi, Ann Palmer. I spoke to Mayor Casey McKeon. I spoke to Butch Twining. I spoke to Don Kennedy. I spoke to Jonathan Bailey. I spoke to 2 residents and 1 undisclosed member. Thank you.
I spoke with the applicant before it went to the design review board, and then I spoke to Commissioner Goldberg, Commissioner Babineau, Councilmember Burns, and Councilmember Twining, and staff.
Okay, and myself, I spoke with Commissioner McGee, Councilman Chad Williams, and I spoke with staff, and possibly Ken Babineau. Can't remember. I know we said hi. I don't know if we talked about it. Might as well cover my bases.
I appreciate you being safe.
Thank you, Connor. And then, may we have a staff report?
Yes, Principal Planner Joanna Cortez will give the presentation.
All right, good evening, Chair, members of the Planning Commission. The project before you is located at 6501 Palm Avenue on the north side of Palm, between Golden West Street and Sea Point. This project is it's part of the Huntington Club, an existing private tennis and golf club that was approved in the late 60s here in the city. The general plan land use designation is OSR, also known as Open Space Recreation, and the zoning designation is OSPR CZO, which is Open Space Parks and Recreation with the coastal zone and oil overlay. The entire property is surrounded primarily by residential uses with some open space across the street, which is just Patson Park. The conditional use permit proposed is number 22-011, and coastal development permit number 22-009 represents a request to demolish the existing 2-story, 6,231 square foot tennis clubhouse, 4 court areas on the site, existing pool and spa area, and redevelop the site with a new 2-story, 12,446 square foot tennis clubhouse building at an overall height of 30 feet and 8 inches along, with a new junior Olympic sized pool and spa. 7,837 square feet of the new tennis clubhouse building, which is the ground floor area, will include a range of clubhouse amenities such as a fitness center, a spa, men's and women's lockers, a yoga pavilion, performance therapy, a members lounge, and a pro shop. The project also includes associated landscaping, additional parking, and utility improvements. And these are renderings before you that show, the top picture shows the proposed tennis clubhouse. And then this is kind of a rendering view that shows the clubhouse with the new pool. The request also includes 4 detached bungalows ranging from 883 square feet to 1,865 square feet at approximately 17 feet in height. On the second floor of the new clubhouse, 2 loft units are proposed. One is 3,036 square feet and the other is 1,173 square feet. The purpose of the bungalows and lofts is to serve as a short-term accommodation for club members and their guests. As part of the request, 3 tennis courts will be removed. Before you is a aerial shot of the existing conditions. Right now, the area that's been hatched off is not part of this project area. The area in green represents the area that is being remodeled. The existing number of courts, as you can see right here, are 13 tennis courts with 8 pickleball courts. With this project, the remaining number of courts will be 10 tennis courts with 8 pickleball courts. And this will be to accommodate the new development along with the additional parking spaces. And so this is, again, the existing site, and so the following is a more focused look at the project area, which shows that the existing tennis courts that will remain, along with the reconfigured tennis court, which was originally your traditional tennis court, which will now become a pickleball court. So the number of pickleball courts will not change with this request, only the number of tennis courts. The tennis, and then it also displays all the proposed landscaping and all of the improvements that will show how The existing uses will connect with the rest of the site. So the main entrance to the Huntington Club would be here. You would enter here to the new kind of reconfigured parking area, and which will lead over to the bungalows, which are kind of tucked in this area behind the tennis courts. The following are renderings of the new structures. You have right here the bungalows, the clubhouse, and just an overall view of the site. The tennis club house and the proposed bungalows are designed to convey a high level of quality and character that incorporate quality materials and designs such as smooth plaster, board formed concrete with some metal accents, as you can see here, standing seam metal roofs for the new clubhouse, and then clay tile roofs for the new bungalows. The shared materials complement each of the new buildings along with the existing structure on the site, such as the golf clubhouse. Outdoor areas for the lofts and bungalows are designed to be oriented towards the club area or the rest of the facility. And once again, enhanced landscaping is proposed along the site, and you can see that in the previous slide. The project was presented at the October 9th, 2025 Design Review Board meeting. The project was recommended for approval as proposed with no modifications. The proposed development will continue the land use pattern of open space recreation uses in the surrounding area. The new tennis clubhouse and pool will be updated and located in their existing locations. And the new clubhouse will remain 2 stories and will be similar in height to surrounding properties. The new bungalows will also be compatible in height, proportion, and scale, and character with the neighborhood so that it has this good quality Spanish-style design. The building features quality, again, architecture and materials. It has a functional site layout and integrates landscape improvements with adequate vehicular and pedestrian circulation. The existing private golf and tennis club, which was conditionally approved as the primary use for this site, will continue to operate as originally approved. The new units for short-term accommodation have been identified as accessory uses and will be an additional amenity offered to the members and their guests of the private club, and are conditioned to be limited to them and to ensure that the development remains compatible with the surrounding uses. In addition to recommended conditions, adequate distances between the new structures and adjacent residential uses are provided to sufficiently buffer and minimize potential impacts to noise-sensitive uses such as the residential uses that surround the property. There will be site upgrades to support the existing club's operations and providing amenities to residents and visitors to promote recreational uses within the coastal zone. Therefore, staff is recommending approval of the project based on the following: that it's consistent with the site's general plan and land use designation and zoning designation. It's compatible with the surrounding uses. It allows for a commercial recreation project with unique and quality architecture, and the project will not impede public access or conflict with any public recreation policies. Staff has received 2 phone call inquiries just inquiring about general information about the project. Staff has also received a letter against the project that included a petition which has been provided in the supplemental communication in your packet. The applicant is here, and this concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for staff? I'll start on my right.
I just want to clarify that these bungalows are only for members of the club, right?
That is correct.
And their guests. Are there any exceptions to that?
The way is, as proposed, there are no exceptions, and if you take a look at attachment 1, there are the proposed suggested findings and conditions of approval, which state that it has to be limited to members and their guests.
The only thing that concerns me is, we have these municipal codes, like Municipal Code 5.120, which restricts residents from short-term rentals. But it does exempt them when they're away for short-term. They can rent their own properties, and if they're on site, they can rent their own properties. So if we apply that logic to Title 21 here, the Huntington Club would be a little bit more draconian in just allowing members to take those bungalows, if you understand what I'm saying.
So the idea behind it was to ensure that the principal use here, which is a private golf and tennis club, remain that. and to not change the character of the site is to this truly be an accessory use or an additional amenity that won't change the character of the site. This is a way to maintain that it won't be open, it won't be a different type of use that is not what the overall, what the principle, whatever the original approval for the
I'm just
site
saying, would this be designated, would this be classified as like a quasi-hotel? Do you understand what I mean?
Understood.
But there's nobody from the outside, it's only
It is
club
only
members.
for members only.
Roger that, okay. Just thanks for the clarification.
Yes.
Order. Not, we're not going to be yelling out. We're going to keep order. At this point, I would hope somebody would call security because we're not going to. As a question in regards to a hotel, can you make a distinction, please, between a hotel and what you just described? Because I don't think they're the same legally. Otherwise, there's no public access granted to a membership such as this. So we need to make a distinction so that we're not painting this with a broad brush.
Can I ask Connor a question? Would it be appropriate for me to draw a parallel between another municipal code in law and this? Or should I just leave that alone?
I think doing so at the public hearing stage could confuse the issue.
Roger that.
I think we should analyze the codes that actually deal with this project. And if there's an issue in our code, then yeah, we can bring up planning staff and we can look into changing that, definitely.
Okay, copy that, thank you.
A question for clarification, please. It's my understanding that these properties are subject to whatever requirements, restrictions, and fees from the city that are applied to short-term rentals. So while they're managed privately and those conditions are membership only, the city would still get some sort of fee from the additional rental income? Is that correct?
That is correct. And there is a municipal code section that allows for us to take those fees. And then to kind of answer the question about, the definition per our code is, it's an establishment offering lodging on a weekly or less than weekly basis. And the distinction here is that it would be the difference between it being open publicly versus privately, which is what's being proposed today.
Because again, a hotel's a hotel, and these are being referred to as bungalows and accessory units to the function of the club, correct?
That's correct. They are being proposed as short-term accommodation.
Yeah, so I mean, when I'm reviewing this stuff and trying to stay in the parameters of what the zoning code allows for, it's not a hotel. I just want to make that clear. It's not a hotel. I mean, from my understanding. Is that correct?
Not in the traditional sense, no.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Has staff done any research? I know a lot of other clubs have bungalows. They have a few bungalows that are available to members. Has staff looked into that?
Yes, staff has, and we've worked with the applicant as well to fully understand what they're proposing, but we've also done our research, and there have been similar clubs that have done the same type of short-term accommodation for their members. There's one in Camarillo. I know in Newport Beach they have those as well, and it is the same concept.
Commissioner Goldberg?
So I wanted a little more clarification because we have rules we live in a condo complex and we have rules where you cannot rent the places for less than 30 days. And that's because the city ordinance, we would love to do it for a minimum of 3 months or 6 months, but we're not allowed to do that because city ordinance trumps our ordinance. But in this case here, I want to clarify. So let's just fast forward and this project goes ahead and they put in bungalows and everything's working just fine. And then all of a sudden, the economy takes a bad turn and they decide they want to change the arrangement as far as being able to allow them to be rented by people outside of this membership circle and guests of membership. That would take an action, they'd have to come back and get a new approval, or that wouldn't even be considered at all because the project was built with the other approval. Explain to me what would happen in that case.
At minimum, they would have to come back to another public hearing to amend those conditions, and from that point, staff would have to evaluate what they're proposing, how it was originally approved, and based on our research, it was approved as a private club based on its land use and zoning designation. So it would be hard for us we would have to explore that further, but at minimum, it would have to come back before the Planning Commission.
And if, just a follow-up, and if the tenant decided to violate any of these terms, then the city can just come right in and just shut them down. Is that correct, basically?
Code enforcement could be sent out to look into it.
And ultimately, if it was found that they violated their conditional use permit or additional permit, that could be revoked, yes.
Thank you.
Chair and Commissioners, if I may just kind of do a similar comparison of ancillary uses to primary uses, I would kind of equate this to potentially if you had a church and an ancillary use to that could be a school, right? So your primary use would be a church, you have an ancillary school, you have an ancillary rectory or clergy quarter for priests or pastors for that church. In the same fashion where you have ancillary uses to, in this case, a primary park and recreation use. So a country club has amenities that they offer like tennis courts, a clubhouse, a fitness center. So it's not uncommon to have ancillary uses to primary uses. It's how it's proposed in a certain project that is evaluated and determined by staff per the zoning code.
Could I ask another question? I think a lot of people who are residents in the area, in the Seacliff area, are maybe concerned about noise levels and the kind of people who are going to be using that short term. There's a clubhouse there. Obviously, there's going to be drinking and whatever else. But there is a buffer between the nearest resident, right? 75 feet, I believe.
That's correct.
Okay. And how was that 75 feet? How did you come up with that?
So we measured it from the nearest, hang on, let me see if I can pull this up. So we measured it from the closest structure to the closest home. So the nearest structure would be these bungalows right here. So they have already a 25-foot wide setback, plus there is an additional 50-foot setback to the nearest property line. That's not the structure, but the property line. And so that's how we came up with that 75-foot dimension. In addition to that, about the concern with noise, staff did evaluate that and reworked with the applicant to, if you look at the conditions of approval, and as well as their narrative, they state that they are going to be placing signage to help deter congregating after 10, which is when our noise ordinance, the decibel levels, allowable decibel levels next to sensitive uses change. So there's additional signage being proposed, as well as having facility personnel present to enforce these quiet hours to, again, limit congregating around the bungalows and the loft areas. Because usually that's probably where the concern would come from, that would be there later at night.
Thank you.
As I spoke with you earlier today, to clarify OSR versus private versus public, could you go over that again, please?
Private versus
Public.
Yes. So this particular project is a little bit unique compared to other golf courses we have in the city. This is a private property, a private business and entity. That's how it was been approved, and it hasn't changed since its approval back in the 60s. And so we will look at the overall land use, make sure that any type of request that comes in complies, including any type of ancillary use that is being proposed can comply, but we do not have control over the business model. If it's within the parameters of the code, staff does not have control over a business model. It would be kind of, I guess the best way to think is like going to a restaurant and they take your favorite, meal off the menu. We can't control that. You then have the option of not going there or what have you. But it's kind of similar in that way. So what we're looking at here is just purely from a land use perspective, what's allowed.
So next question, I did not go over this with you, but it came up. The conditional use permit for alcohol consumption, how is that managed in these bungalows and stuff like that? And on the premise? And on the golf course?
The site has its own golf. A lot of times these uses will have like a catering license, and they can they'll have events there that allows them to serve alcohol. In terms of the actual bungalows themselves, if somebody decides to rent them and drink alcohol, that would be, it'd be similar to a hotel and how you can bring your own, into there. So are you asking if they'll be serving alcohol?
No, I'm asking alcohol on the premises, being able to, like, they're not going to sell it to the bungalows, right? They're not going to be able to order it from,
They'll have the ability to order from and I'll let the applicant kind of speak on that a little bit further, but there is an existing restaurants, and they're on site, they can always order from there. They would have to comply with their ABC license, and so if there's limitations to that, they would have to comply with that. None are being proposed.
and what is the ABC license type?
I don't have the type in front of me, but I can get that for you.
Okay. The other thing is that I know, because I live on a golf course, and I have some issues, right? As far as the noise level, it does travel from the clubhouse down to my house. And it usually stops at 10, so that's good. But it does have a noise level that travels to the homes, and I'm fairly far away. That's number one. Number two, with the alcohol license, since the prior company that managed the golf course at what was previously known as Seacliff, now Huntington Club, they let the golf course go into deteriorate the last 2 years of the lease, is my understanding. At least that's what I heard from the residents. And as a result, one of the major complaints of residents who live on the golf course is the, I guess you would call them fern trees, pine trees, those sort of things. It's not being maintained, and it's going into the neighbors' yards. And I realize it's a private course, private homes, and I'm hoping that that this will be addressed. And I heard from one of the neighbors that they went and they said, "Could you please stop it because it's overgrown and all of that." And the person at the management office basically told this resident to pound sand when he asked to correct that. And so I look at the site plan and I think it's gorgeous, because I'm hoping that our golf course, that my home is like these residents, is on one of the holes, the greens. And I can't tell you that the plant palette, taking out the trees and the shrubs that are the messy ones and the ones that fall over, I was very happy to see that on the plans, okay? And so I think from that perspective, that's a really good thing, and it's gonna clear up some of this stuff. But in the meantime, until this project gets off, I'm hoping that the Huntington Club will do their due diligence and help these neighbors out. I'm just hope they do. So that's basically all I have to say. Thank you.
Commissioner Babineau.
Okay, so you may or may not know this answer, but I'm going to give it a shot anyways. Generally speaking, how many members should there, or how many courts should there be per member? Is there some kind of a standard number?
The city does not, but I think the applicant might be better suited to answer that question.
Okay, and I know some of the existing courts are lighted, right? Are some of those going away?
Some of the ones that are lit are going away with this request.
I guess my question is in regards to this project, in researching the exemption 32 and the definitions of infill, do you have a definition for us in regards to the infill by chance? I could loosely paraphrase, but if you have something more professional, I'd like it to be said.
What exactly? So
Well,
what-
the
what-
idea that,
It's an infill, a Class 32 is what's called an infill exemption. When you are working on a site that's has already been improved, and you're within, there are certain parameters that they have to follow. And if you can follow those parameters that the CEQA guidelines give you, then you can exempt a project from further environmental review. And this project would qualify as it's already been a developed site, and it's doing a similar type of development.
right, so, I mean, essentially, times change, uses change.
Correct.
As you're talking about ancillary uses in this property, it's almost like, based on what I read in the code, the zoning code, it allows for the project, the project had never realized the potential of what they're trying to bring it to today. Is that a fair definition?
That's correct. So when the project was originally constructed, it was constructed as a golf club, private golf club, and with guidance as new ancillary uses came in, to go through this process. So the tennis courts that have been slowly, introduced into the site, those have gone through the public hearing process. For example, the maintenance building that's there, that's gone through a public hearing process. And so we're just following what was done previously.
Or like the evolution of the property?
Correct, because you're right, things in times change, needs change, and these sites get reevaluated and, updated. And so the tennis club, I believe, is about 40 years old, and so
Right.
they are trying to upgrade it for today.
Right, because my understanding along PCH 4100 block, almost down to PCH on Warner, there used to be tennis courts there. There used to be a tennis club there that are now condos. So it's just the idea that when you're a kid, you remember things change. So I used to have hair back then too, but that's all I have. Is there any other questions for the good of the order here?
I've just got one question, if I may. I know you want to hear from the... Okay. I just want to... It's the purview of the owner stroke developer how many tennis courts they have, right? So that's what you were saying before. It's like taking your favorite menu item off the menu, really, yeah? Same thing, right?
I mean, with the city, we don't have any guidance in
Okay.
terms of what the minimum requirement would be in this case.
Okay,
For a
roger that.
private club.
Thank you.
Okay, so with no further questions, we'll open the public hearing.
Okay, we have 18 speakers, and we do have one person who filled out a form but did not put down their name. I would like you all to come down, line up behind both microphones. I'm going to call you all, and I'll do a second call for anyone who doesn't come up. Jonathan Bailey, Jim Hartman, Kurt Hillard, Lindy Sutton, Robert Kelly, Douglas Warren, Frank Andrus, Tara Cockshott, Brian Rosenblatt, Scott Willingham, Anthony DeMann, Cheryl Gates, Rick Wood, Lisa Wellman, Wallaby Brunich, Sean Boletieri, Addison Sky Bruchich Boletieri, and Robert O'Hill. Please say your name prior to speaking. Thank you.
Just as a point of order, before we start, the applicant will speak first. Please state your name and how you're associated with the project.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners. My name is Jonathan Bailey. I'm the project manager for the Huntington Club improvements. And can I request an extension beyond my 3 minutes to be able to get through my presentation this evening, please? Is that
Chair, it's at your discretion.
How much time do you need?
maybe like 6 or 7 minutes?
We'll give you 6 or 7.
Okay, appreciate it. You can go to the next slide. This is our master site plan for the project, so Joanna went over a lot of this already, but starting at the right, we have a new junior Olympic-sized swimming pool, complete with a new spa and water feature, and also cabanas. This junior Olympic-sized swimming pool is significantly larger than what exists on property today, and this junior Olympic-sized swimming pool will be great for families, for kids, specifically kids swim teams and swim team competitions that happen in summer. This pool will also be used to be able to expose new members to the club through the kids swim meet competitions. Moving to the left, we have a new clubhouse. The first floor consists of a new fitness center, a new club social, which is a members lounge and a members bar, a new men's and women's locker rooms, a new pro shop, a new yoga lawn, and a new performance therapy and spa area. On the second floor of the clubhouse, we have 2 loft units, and then out in the foreground by the lake, we have 4 bungalows. This is the same schematic landscape plan that Joanna had in her presentation. So we are keeping some existing trees, getting some of the problem trees that Tracy pointed out, and then we are also beefing up the landscaping substantially and specifically using trees that don't shed that much, whether it be on the homes or on the pickleball courts or on the tennis courts. And then also right north of the pool area, we're constructing a new food garden. So this food garden is going to be on decomposed granite with comfortable seating. It'll have olive trees for shade and then some strung lights connecting the olive trees above. This is a table showing the club amenities as they exist today versus what is proposed after the improvements. Today we have 13 tennis courts. After the improvements, there will be 10 courts. Pickleball courts, there are currently 8 pickleball courts. There will still be 8 pickleball courts after the improvements. The event space, one of the tennis courts, court 5, a couple years ago was converted to an event space. So this is used for wedding receptions, other kind of parties and large gatherings. And this event space is being eliminated. These events are going to go back over to the golf side, likely to be hosted inside the golf clubhouse itself and away from the residences. And someone had brought up noise, is that this event space, we have received plenty of noise complaints, nuisance complaints about the events that would happen on this space. So with the, and there'd be hundreds of people at this event space at one time, depending on the event. So with the elimination of this event space and basically it being replaced with the bungalows, is that we think the bungalows are going to be a lot less noisy than the events that were taking place at the event space. The clubhouse, the current clubhouse is 40 years old. It is very small, very inadequate, and it is being replaced with a new clubhouse that has about an 8,000 square foot footprint. That's the first floor. This includes a club social area, which is the members lounge and bar, a new pro shop, fitness center, men's and women's locker rooms, and the performance therapy and spa area. Also, the existing swimming pool is about 40 years old, very small and inadequate, and this is going to be replaced with the junior Olympic-sized pool for families and swim teams. The existing food and beverage on the tennis property is essentially non-existent. Most of the F&B occurs at the golf clubhouse, but after the improvements, they will have the new beer and food garden, which is the decomposed granite with the olive trees, as well as the new club social area, which is located inside the new tennis clubhouse. These are renderings of 3 of the 4 bungalows. They're named Casa Palmero, Rancho Valencia, and Ojai. Casa Palmero and Ojai are 1-bedroom units, while Rancho Valencia is a 2-bedroom unit. This is the 4th bungalow. This one is named Mayakama. This is the largest bungalow. It is a 3-bedroom unit. Our inspiration for the bungalows and lofts was Augusta National Golf Club and Burnham Wood Golf Club. If you're familiar with Augusta National Golf Club, they're famous for their cabins, and they're very exclusive. There's only about 9 of them, and they can only be rented by members. Is that, me as a member of the public, I cannot go on Augusta's website and rent, even if I'm going to the Masters, I can't go and rent one of the cabins. Burnham Wood has something similar. They call them cottages. So our idea is Augusta has the cabins, Burnham Wood has the cottages, Huntington Club will have the bungalows. And these are exclusively meant for members and guests of members. So our idea is that members will have families visiting from out of town. They will have friends visiting from out of town. Likely they will be using the club facilities anyways, playing golf, playing tennis, playing pickleball. And by being able to stay directly on site, they will have direct access to those amenities that they'll be using. And these will also cater to out-of-area, out-of-state members. last part. The bungalows are also a necessary component for the project because the revenue that will be generated from the bungalows will pay for the other amenities like the clubhouse, like the beer garden, like the swimming pool. These are pictures of the existing tennis clubhouse and the existing swimming pool, so you can see what that looks like and what we're replacing. And now this is an aerial rendering showing what the new clubhouse and the new swimming pool would look like. On the right side, you can also see the cabanas. Towards the bottom, you can kind of make out the new jacuzzi. This is an aerial from the other side of the clubhouse. So on this side, you can see the center court, and then also the new terrace and the connecting members lounge and bar as part of Club Social. And then over there, over there, another view of the cabanas with the new pool, and then a better view of what the spa with the water feature will look like. This is a street elevation of the new tennis clubhouse. And then this is the floor plan for the first floor of the tennis clubhouse blown up. So once again, we have the fitness center. You can see it's broken up into two areas there. One is going to be primarily for cardio machines, while the other one is going to be more geared towards weight training. And then we have the yoga lawn in between the two fitness centers. Moving down is the Club Social with the members lounge and bar right there in the middle that opens out onto the terrace, which overlooks the center court. Is that there's sliders on each end of the bar that push into the walls. So, and then at the same time, the back bar has a glass and black steel garage door that sort of folds up, so that entire space is going to be able to be indoor, outdoor. I only have about 2 more minutes. Is that okay? Am I good? Okay. And so, this is for, you can have a drink on the terrace, watch your friend play tennis on the center court, or, during the day, go to the lounge area. That'll be a good place to be able to sit down, do some work. Then moving down, the men's and women's locker rooms. Those are each complete with their own saunas and own showers. There will be a new pro shop, and then the performance therapy and spa area. The performance therapy and spa area will have things as simple as, massage rooms, massage tables, but also cryotherapy, red light therapy, hyperbaric oxygen chambers. Yes. This is an overview of what the whole project looks like cohesively. Tennis court adequacy. So, with the proposed improvements, we will have 10 regulation tennis courts. Our total active membership count right now is 225 members. This equates to 22.5 members per court. Planning and facility studies indicate clubs operate sustainably at much higher, significantly higher ratios than proposed, up to 60 members per court. A ratio of approximately 22 to 25 members per court reflects a low intensity use and ample court availability. The Los Angeles Tennis Club, one of the most historic, prestigious, and exclusive private tennis clubs in Southern California in Hancock Park, operates at approximately 25 members per court, demonstrating that this ratio is consistent with the high-quality private club standard. At 22.5 members per court, the proposed tennis facilities provide more than adequate capacity to serve the planned membership with sufficient availability during peak and off-peak periods. In conclusion, the Huntington Club improvements will generate $500,000 plus of annual revenue to the city through local sales tax and use tax. The planning staff has spent hundreds of hours to make unanimous findings and recommendations for approval. This is the plan that is desired by the property owner and applicant Gulf Realty Fund. This is the plan that is desired by the tenant and club management camaraderie clubs. And we are confident that this plan will enhance and elevate the club and member experience. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. Staff, do you have any questions of the applicant? Start on my right. Mr. McGee?
Yeah, how did you come up with that $500,000 number?
We had an economic study done that basically looked at sales tax of people that are going to be staying in the bungalows and what the money that they'll be spending on food, beverage, shopping, otherwise, as well as the use taxes that come from the short-term rentals.
So that would be revenue for the city?
Correct.
No further questions. Thank you.
I have a question about membership, and I'd like you to define what you're calling membership. For example, is it you belong to Thune Club or Arsis Club? Are those considered members? Or is this like a private, you can only belong to this private entity club?
If you're talking about like reciprocal club memberships or something like that, is that what you mean, or?
No, what I'm talking about is, well, I'm not sure what you mean by that, okay? But I'm just saying that, for example, when we go to Hawaii, if you're a Thune Club member, you get to use certain facilities and stuff like that. So is that your definition of membership, or is it because part of the thing that these people are upset about is I think, from what I'm hearing, they're not understanding what membership means, to be renting those bungalows.
So right now, the memberships, there's, tennis and pickleball memberships, there's
No,
golf.
no, I'm talking about the club itself.
Yeah, I'm saying at the club, the different kinds of members, tennis and pickleball members, golf members, social members, is being a specific member of the Huntington Club itself will give you access to the bungalows.
So if I live in Arizona and I belong to the Thune Club, this is not related to that at all. So it's
Correct.
just this club,
It's
that's
just
it.
the Huntington. I mean, you could live in Arizona and decide
I
that you want to
understand
buy a
that.
Huntington Club membership, but you
Yeah.
have to be a member of specifically the Huntington Club.
Okay, all right.
So strictly the Huntington Beach Club?
Yes,
is what you're
correct.
saying.
So there's no reciprocal agreements between other clubs?
Correct.
Which brings up a question to staff. If that did happen, would that have to go, would that change the conditional use permit? So we may need to make, if we get to that point, we may need to make a condition then. Somebody write that down. I got a lot going on up here.
I have another question.
So, so you're just saying that should they have an agreement with another kind of major chain or something that wouldn't be applicable, that they'd have to remain just the Huntington Club?
We would close that loophole, for lack of a better term.
Yes,
Roger
I would
that.
agree with that,
Okay.
yeah.
A stipulation?
Okay, so I had asked the question, I think, to staff, and they didn't know the answer. How many of the 3 courts, I guess, that are going away, it's 4, right, but one's an event space already?
Correct.
How many of those are lit or lighted?
All 3 of those courts that are going away are lit.
Do we have the ability to light other courts so there's not, such a detriment to nighttime tennis playing, right?
We would happily pursue lighting other tennis courts that are currently unlit.
So you would be open to that?
Yes, we would be open to that.
Okay.
Okay.
Which is, I would imagine if I lived in Seacliff, I wouldn't want those lights. But
I mean, I think.
point of order.
Yeah, I think my point is, right, if we're taking away, so we're reducing capacity, right? But the capacity is being, I guess, further reduced because of the inability to use courts at night, because there will be no ability, right?
Yes, I agree. And I'm just curious if we can even stipulate something like that, because again, it's incumbent on the owner and what the owner wants to use it as. Would you know, as the applicant at this point, has that been discussed, the lighting?
The question to me, right? We have discussed it internally, and like I told Vice Chair Babineau, is that we would be open to pursuing that, however that process may go.
So I guess that would be another condition to stipulate the furthest ones from the buffer zone.
Excuse me, Chair. It is accurate that there's certain tennis courts that cannot be lit at night. And so part of that process would be to reevaluate and look into what if those tennis courts can be lit up, if we want to replace the ones that are being removed here. So some of them were allowed to be lit, some of the 6 that are adjacent to the residences furthest to, I guess, the west, those are not, currently were approved, but with the condition that they would only be daytime hours.
And if they did go to lighting, I'm sure there's zoning code
They would have to
and
go,
shielding and all of those other issues that they would have to meet.
at minimum that, but I think they would have to reopen that application, which is what we call an entitlement plan amendment, to reevaluate, look at those conditions, and see with newer technology, perhaps that's something that can be done, but it's not an automatic, we can turn them on kind of situation.
And so would that come back before this body, or would it go back before the
It would-
design review board?
It would go back to the original hearing body. I believe it's Planning Commission, but that's who it would go back to.
Correct, okay. You can, go ahead, Mr. Commissioner Babineau.
So I don't know if you know this, right? But is there some authority on the utilization of the courts? Like, are they being utilized at 20%, or is it 80%? Is there, a day or week-long wait? Like, how much are the 13 courts being utilized? I mean, can somebody answer that?
It depends on the day of the week, of course, and the time. I know that there's men's and women's leagues, men's and women's nights, and they can use anywhere from 4 to 8 courts at a time.
So 4 to 8, right? But we're talking about still having 10.
Correct.
But I guess for me, the part that concerns me is the fact that there won't be utilization at night because of the lack of lit courts. Now, I don't know how many people play at night. It's cold. And I didn't ask for a show of hands, but but I see
Thank
those.
you.
So anyways, okay, thank you. Nothing further, I don't.
And just to quickly add, 6 of the 10 are the ones that are limited to daytime hours. The remaining 4 would be lit.
But you're saying the remaining 4 under the zoning or whatever we have.
There's 6 tennis courts that are immediately adjacent to residential
That
homes.
cannot be lit.
Correct, they are limited to daytime hours.
Okay, so they're not being used anyways, those 6. But the other 4 can't have lights?
There are no limitations that we could find. So they can be lit. They should be lit.
So as an applicant, I think you said, and if I'm putting words in your mouth, correct me, but you would be willing to, as a concession, figure out a way to light at least a couple of those courts, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. No.
I have a question.
I have one too. Okay. Going back to the hours, since, during the wintertime, it's dark much earlier than in the summertime. So what are the hours of operation for the tennis courts?
The hours of operation, I believe, are 7 a.m. to the lit ones, I think, are up. I think it's 7 to 7, 7 to 8. 7 to 10. I stand corrected.
10 p.m. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, I have another question.
Commissioner
Okay,
Palmer?
different topic, thank you. Can you speak to parking? Is parking in compliance now? And the place that you are expanding parking, how does that relate to the clientele and the usage, please?
The parking, so for this project, we had to add 33 parking spaces. Currently on site, so the tennis parcel specifically, there are 33 existing spaces, and we had to increase that to 66 to meet the parking demand. The bulk of that parking demand came from pickleball courts, tennis courts, the fitness center, the pool, not the bungalows and lofts. The bungalows and lofts are only parked 1-to-1. So with the 6 total units, they only required 6 parking spaces. The other 27 parking spaces were because of the courts and the other amenities.
Thank you.
Commissioner Gold.
Okay, so I understand the whole six-court thing. I used to be with the parks in another city, so I understand how important it is to keep quiet, closer to residents' homes. And also the ambient light. Everyone's always freaked out about the light more than the noise, actually, because you still hear the tennis courts in the daytime. So when this was originally put together, this 6 courts can never be lit for the rest of eternity. What year was that? We're talking like in the 60s, 70s? Is that when that was done?
It was late 80s.
Okay, all right. So to the applicant, it would be if the residents were open to it, it would be in your best interest to light the other tennis courts because you'd get more use out of the courts. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And for those residents here that live in the vicinity, I'm sure they realize that lighting has changed quite a bit since 1980. I can tell you a lot has changed since 1980, but certainly lighting technology has changed since 1980. If you look at these races that are done in the middle of cities like the Grand Prix and what have you, when they light them up at night, they only light up the court. You can't see any light at all anywhere other than the actual racetrack or the actual soccer field, because we did a lot of soccer fields in Long Beach that were lit. And that was the biggest complaint, was we don't want to disturb the residents that are across the street or what have you. And so, anyway, I'm just throwing that out there to just clarify that we would, if we were to go and move forward with the stipulation requiring you to pursue it, it would have to go through the normal process, which I understand, that's quite a process. And you're going to get opposition, as you will to anything, any type of change that people are not used to seeing. But there are ways to light these tennis courts, at least maybe a couple of them. I don't know. Like I said, I can't visualize exactly. I'm sure there's some that are much closer to the residents. You obviously would not try to light those up, but there's ones that are closer to the actual existing structures, and there's already light anyway, is what I'm saying. So it's not like you're really changing the dynamic until 10 o'clock at night. And I assume if there's no usage on courts, you guys do shut the lights down. I mean, or do you just leave the lights going till 10 no matter what? Or is there a way to shut the lights off early when they don't need to go till 10?
We would be able to shut them off early, but I think for the most part, they stay on until 10.
Till 10, just in case someone strolls in at like 9 and wants to play?
Yeah.
All right, very good. All right, reserve questions till after we hear from after the public, thanks.
Any further questions? Okay. So with no further questions, we'll now open the public hearing. Do we have any speakers? We said we had 18.
Yeah, we currently have 17. Please remember to state your name before you speak, and please line up at each of the microphones.
Good evening. Good evening, Chair Bush, commissioners, and staff. Pleased to be here tonight. For the record, my name is Jim Hartman. I'm speaking as a member of the Huntington Club, a resident of Huntington Beach, and a community stakeholder cares very deeply about this city. I was raised here. Tonight, I respectfully submit into the record a petition signed by over 680 individuals opposing the proposed bungalows and lofts associated with agenda item 26-039. This petition was emailed to the Planning Commission by 5 p.m. yesterday and has also been hand-delivered this evening to the city clerk at the dais, with copies provided to each commissioner. We respectfully request that the petition and all supporting materials be entered into the official record. So we're all here tonight not because we oppose change, not because we oppose improvement, not because we don't favor and embrace investment, but we're here because we care very deeply about the Huntington Club as a recreational, community-centered space that has served generations of members, families, youth programs, and local residents. Many of us spend countless hours there each week, playing tennis late into the evening, as you've heard, coaching youth, participating in charity events, leagues, tournaments, and simply building friendships and community. For many members, the club is not just an amenity. It's a cornerstone of daily life, wellness, and connection. That is why the proposed project raises significant concern. Beyond the addition of overnight lodging, the plan introduces a new internal roadway and parking area that would run through the middle of the existing tennis and pickleball courts, permanently altering the layout, safety, and functionality of a core recreational zone. This is not a minor reconfiguration. This insertion of a road and parking to serve bungalows fundamentally changes how the courts are used, accessed, and experienced, and directly contributes to the loss of tennis courts and reduction of recreational capacity. Within just 48 hours of a late-minute town hall meeting called last Friday at the Huntington Club, more than half the club's membership, according to public records, signed a petition opposing the project. That response was organic, immediate, and deeply felt. We want to be clear. Our questions and comments tonight are not meant to be adversarial. They are asked with respect to the Commission's service and with the shared goal of ensuring that any approval is lawful, transparent, and consistent with the city's zoning, CEQA obligations, and the recreational purpose of the site. In summary, we are here because we love this place, we want to protect what makes it special, and we believe it deserves careful, complete, and lawful consideration. In simple terms, in summary, if you move the bungalows or lose the bungalows, this would be acceptable to all members. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You don't have to go in order. Please line up behind each microphone.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Scott Willingham, 12-year member of the club. Lived in Huntington since 1967. For the record, I'd like to address the removal of the tennis courts, particularly lighted courts as part of this project. Lighted courts are a core component of the club's recreational function, enabling evening play, USTA leagues, tournaments, charity events, youth tennis programs, private lessons, organized social play that cannot be accommodated during daytime hours alone. The proposed removal of 4 tennis courts, including lighted courts, represents a material reduction in recreational capacity, not merely a reconfiguration of amenities. This reduction has foreseeable operational consequences, including diminished ability to host tournaments and programs, reduced instructional opportunities, and potential impacts on professional staff retention. These effects, in turn, directly relate to membership retention and the viability of the recreational use itself, raising legal questions as to whether the project remains consistent with open space recreational zoning and whether the loss of core recreational function has been adequately evaluated under CEQA. Can staff clarify whether the loss of lighted tennis court capacity and its foreseeable effects on tournaments, youth programs, and membership retention were evaluated as part of the CEQA exemption determination? Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. Robert Kelly, longtime Huntington resident and also a member of the club. For the record, approving this project would set as precedent allowing overnight lodging in open space recreation zoning for private clubs, potentially enabling similar uses at other clubs in the city without proper legislative review or zoning amendments. Furthermore, Huntington Beach Municipal Code 5.120 prohibits residents from renting their homes for less than 30 days, actually, and except for narrow specific circumstances, allowing a private landowner or a club to operate paid overnight accommodations while residents are prohibited from similar activity creates unequal treatment under the law and undermines the consistent enforcement of municipal regulations. The record should reflect that these legal concerns, precedent setting, and unequal treatment weigh against the applicability of the conditional use permit and CEQA exemption for this project. This bungalow built to rent plan is a short-term rental operation. It's planned within 75 feet of existing homes, and those owners cannot rent their properties out on a short-term basis. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, Hi, my name is Lisa Wellman, and I just want to comment in agreement with everyone that's spoken about the recreational zoning, or the zoning of the recreational and open space use of the Huntington Club, which we all love. But more specifically, these bungalows, the average size of a hotel room in Huntington Beach is 700 square feet. We have a bungalow being proposed that's 3,000 square feet. That's larger than the average size of Huntington Beach homes in general. I'm asking, you have to ask yourself just what Mr. Kelly said. This is just a short-term rental operation. This is a hotel. This is specifically built to make money for the club. And a lot of things that the club has done before have been very disingenuous, which is why people are not trusting this process, why none of us want these bungalows or these changes, specifically these bungalows. Ms. Pellman, you asked earlier about reciprocal clubs, and I believe that Mr. Bailey said to you, oh no, there's no reciprocation. But yet we are partnered with a club in Spanish Hills in Camarillo, which I believe said that the bungalows are already in use there, and that's not true. Those bungalows have not been built. They have been approved there, but that's a reciprocal club where those members could come and use our bungalows, and they would charge, rent and make money that way. So that's disingenuous. Also, Mr. Bailey pointed out that this is modeled after Augusta National Golf Club. Augusta is 623 acres. If you've ever been there, it's gorgeous, but it's 623 acres. The Huntington Club, including the golf course, is 143 acres. And as Mr. Hartman pointed out, driving cars through the tennis courts, through the pickleball courts, is not only a safety concern, but a long-term change that is not for the public good of recreation or open space. I urge you to vote no on these bungalows. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairman Bush and members of the Planning Commission. My name is Rick Wood. I am here tonight to oppose item 26-039. As you have heard before with other speakers, there are a lot of members who use the tennis courts frequently, and I understand the numbers that the applicant presented in terms of number of people per court, but we host many, many events that have much more than just our members there. We have the Tee It Up for the Troops, which is on the golf side, Serve It Up for the Troops, which is on our tennis side, and we have hundreds of people that come for this charity to support our veterans. So it's not just members, we host tournaments and events that also bring more people to the club than just the members. I do have some issues with staff's conclusion. I don't agree with the findings, as I don't see lodging as an allowable use classification in the open space district, and I don't see it listed in section 23-06 of the zoning code. Additionally, I disagree that the project is eligible to utilize a Class 32 categorical exemption from CEQA for the following reasons. The courts have upheld that parks, recreation areas, and open space are not automatically considered urbanized land. The courts have also held that if the project is surrounded by residential uses, a conversion to open space is not considered allowable. Courts have also argued that short-term rentals generate significant noise and traffic impacts. The open space zoning must specifically allow residential or lodging uses. I don't see either of those listed in the section of the zoning code that's referred to with our open space, that is what the property is currently zoned as. The project proposes the elimination of recreational open space and its replacement with residential structures. This is not infill development, but rather a conversion of open space to a more intensive use, which falls outside of the scope of the Class 32 exemption. So based on that, I don't believe it is allowable to approve the current proposal. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council, for allowing us to come in here and voice our opinions. My name is Lindy Sutton, and I'm a longtime 22-year member of Seacliff, now THC, and a resident. And I am here to speak on behalf of, for the record, and consistent with California Government Code Sections 87100, 87200, 87207, 1090 Huntington Beach Municipal Code Sections 2.36.30 and 2.42.50-080, and FPPC guidance on conflicts of interest. I respectfully request that the Planning Commission disclose whether any commissioner has had, currently has, or anticipates any membership, ownership interest, contractual relationship, gift, financial benefit, or any other economic personal advantage, whether direct or indirect, from the Huntington Club, Golf Realty Fund, Camaraderie Clubs Management, or any affiliated entity. This includes, but is not limited to, paid or discounted membership dues, initiation fees or services, employment, consulting, or contractual relationships, any family, household, or closely affiliated party benefits, further promised or potential benefits, memberships, or privileges. I respectfully request that all such relationships be disclosed on the record prior to deliberation or any vote, so that any potential conflict of interest is fully documented in accordance with applicable state and local law. And then I also wanted to speak with what my comrades have spoken about, which is Serve It Up for the Troops. We have done Serve It Up for the Troops there for lots of years. This is my t-shirt. And it's brought in over $3.6 million to the troops, to the city, brings in so many people into our club and introduces them to Huntington Beach and to Seacliff/THC. And so I hope you will really consider all of what we have to say and not go for the plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Hey, Douglas Warren, Huntington Beach resident and club member. Evening, commission, staff. So for the record, the project was publicly discussed at a last-minute meeting town hall held by Golf Realty Fund on Friday, January 23rd at 4 p.m., convened only after numerous complaints were filed with the city. Within 48 hours of that meeting, over 500 signatures were collected in a petition opposing the proposed bungalows, lofts, removal of the tennis courts, representing approximately half the club's membership based on publicly available membership data, that is. This demonstrates that a substantial portion of the membership does not support the addition of these overnight lodging units. And given this opposition, it's difficult to substantiate the claim that the units are solely for members and their guests, or that they constitute an ancillary amenity consistent with OS recreation zoning. The record should reflect that under these circumstances, the project may exceed the authority of a conditional use permit, and reliance on a CEQA Class 32 exemption may be legally improper since the proposed use is not consistent with existing zoning and is clearly not supported by the affected membership. So I respectfully ask that the commission to require full review and evaluate whether this proposal exceeds the authority of a conditional use permit before moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Tara Cockshott. First, I want to say that I've lived all over the world and have lived in Huntington now for 8 years, and it is the best place on earth. And I love how this city is run, and I appreciate how you really care about the residents and them having a great life. So for the record, I respectfully request clarification on whether Golf Realty Fund has disclosed all reasonably foreseeable future development plans for the Huntington Club, including potential additional bungalows, lofts, removal of tennis courts, or any other improvements to the main clubhouse or site. As currently proposed, this project raises questions about whether the scope of the project is fully consistent with conditional use permit authority and CEQA applicability under a conditional use permit and a CEQA Class 32 exemption, because it introduces overnight lodging and removes existing recreational facilities beyond what the zoning permits for an ancillary amenity. CEQA requires evaluation of the entire project and all reasonably foreseeable phases, and a conditional use permit must be based on the full scope of development. Failing to consider additional units, court removal, clubhouse upgrades, or other ancillary expansions could further exacerbate the legal overreach. Can staff or the applicant confirm whether any additional lodging units, removal of recreational facilities, clubhouse improvements, or other expansions are reasonably foreseeable at this site? And I have another question based on what the person before, sorry, I can't remember his name, when he said that he was going to provide $500,000 a year for taxes for you, I just would love to know how he came to that number, because I don't know what your rate is to accept taxes, but how much money is he making that he thinks that he's going to pay you $500,000 when nobody that I know wants to rent these bungalows? Not one person wants to rent the bungalows, and I think it's definitely something that needs to be looked at, that they aren't opening this up to national membership for all sorts of other people to come in and take these bungalows. Thank you for your time, and happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Hi, Brian Rosenblatt, Huntington Beach resident, Huntington Club member. Just to go back to something that was brought up before, if we're losing 4 courts, I play 4 days a week out there, and you can't get a court until 11 or 12 a.m. most weekdays because of the usage from the tennis leagues, and men's night and women's night would be destroyed because there's no lights on most of the courts. It would just kind of affect the whole character of the club. I just wanted to make that known. For the record, this is a members-only club, and there are substantial initiation fees and monthly dues. And just to let you guys know, we pay more for the Huntington Club than any other tennis club in Orange County. We do know that. To date, neither the landowner nor the operator has conducted a survey or obtained formal member input demonstrating that overnight lodging is desired or supported. Can staff or the applicant point to any evidence in the record demonstrating documented member demand, such as a survey, a vote, or any kind of input from members? I mean, I don't know who's going to stay at these bungalows out of us, you know. Our inquiry is fueled by the consideration that if a substantial number of members choose to leave the Huntington Club, has the city analyzed whether projected lodging revenue is intended to replace lost membership income, and whether that effectively changes the use from recreational to lodging oriented? I mean, these are questions we don't know. Finally, given that this is a non-equity club and members don't vote on capital projects, how did the city evaluate whether the proposed use reflects the intended purpose of open space recreation zoning rather than a unilateral business decision by the landowner? So, thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, commissioners. My name's Frank Andros. I've been a member of the club on golf and tennis and pickleball for 25 years now. And in consideration of what we heard last Friday on this quickly called meeting from the Golf Realty Fund, for the record, staff and planning commission should be aware that the applicant's representatives from Golf Realty Fund was unable to clarify how the proposed bungalows and lofts would be operated, including whether Golf Realty Fund would receive compensation directly or if funds would be collected through Camaraderie Club's management. We get really no clarity about that information. Additionally, the representative indicated that some of the units may be offered to non-members. This was in the meeting last Friday. Tells us, yes, it could be offered to non-members through an affiliated network called Palmer Advantage. Well, for the record, Palmer Advantage does list the Huntington Club in its North American network of affiliated clubs. So you would assume with other club affiliation that they would allow them to come in and rent bungalows. Can staff or the applicant confirm whether the Huntington Club is currently an active Palmer Advantage affiliate, and if so, whether any of the proposed lodging units would be offered to non-members through the Palmer Advantage or any similar network? We don't get answers on that. This raises legal and procedural questions regarding the actual use of the units, whether they generally function as an ancillary member amenity, and whether the project effectively constitute a hotel or commercial lodging or a VRBO. It's just set up to make that happen. The record should reflect this uncertainty as it directly impacts the applicability of the CEQA Class 32 exemption, compliance with Huntington Beach Municipal Code 5.120, and the Planning Commission's authority under the conditional use permit. As an aside, as a member and seeing Camaraderie Club come over and take over, there's been lots of promises made and very few promises kept. And in looking at this $500,000, I would like to have them show where this could possibly come from. Because if you do the numbers on 6 bungalows at $2,000 a night, I mean, you run the numbers out, it is impossible for them to come and do that without coming back to the club members and saying, oh, by the way, we're real sorry, but we have to raise your dues $1,000 a month. And we already pay at the higher level. Thank you, and I hope you will just look through this sham and just say, move on.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission, I'm Robert O'Hill. Myself and trusts for my children own Golf Realty Fund, which in turn owns the property at the Huntington Club. Our tenant, Travis, is a Huntington Beach success story. He grew up at the club, learned to play golf there, got an MBA from UCLA, came back, became the head golf pro, and then started Travis Matthew, which became probably the largest golf brand of clothing in the world, at least one of them. Sold it to Callaway for a lot of money, and then decided that he wanted to be our tenant. So he has done everything that he was supposed to do. He's spent over $4 or $5 million on improvements to that golf clubhouse. Now we're supposed to do what we're supposed to do, which is make the improvements to the golf club. The swimming pool that's there now is an embarrassment. We're going to put in a junior Olympic pool. It's really important for families and children. My children, I live in Emerald Bay, my children are on the Wahoo swim team. They compete against the Big Canyon swim team. The Newport Beach Country Club, I think they're called the Seahorses. It's really nice to have something where children can go and be on the golf lessons, then go to tennis lessons, then go to swim team. In addition, the improvements include the social club area, as my friend Sean will tell you that runs the tennis club at Newport Beach Country Club. Social is a big deal. There are tennis courts at high schools, but when you're a member of a club, you need more than just tennis courts. You need to be able to engage with your friends and your family. This has a major social component. I'm all into health and wellness, longevity. The fitness area, besides having the latest techno gym equipment, has over $500,000 worth of equipment. We're talking about things like the state-of-the-art red light therapy that you find in every NBA locker room. Well, maybe not in the locker room, wherever they train. In every NBA and NFL team. It is amazing, amazing stuff. You can find it at the Sensei in Hawaii. You can find it in one spot in New York. And you can find it in one spot in Los Angeles. And you're going to be able to find it at the Huntington Club in Huntington Beach.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
Can I have a little more time?
No, we need to move along. I'm sorry, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi. Whoops. Hi, my name is Cheryl Gates. I've been a resident of Huntington Beach for over 25 years. I've been a member of this club for probably over 10 years. I'm an avid tennis player day, night, and I also work and wear a suit. So anyway, there were a few comments that I'm just going to double down on that have been made ahead of me. I would really like to know, given this project is zoned, that this area is zoned as open space and recreation and currently used for tennis courts, I would like a further explanation on how overnight lodging is consistent with both the city's general plan, planned use designation and zoning as required by CEQA for a Class 32 exemption. I'd also like to know more about what section of the Huntington Beach zoning and subdivision ordinance that permits overnight lodging in the applicable open space and recreational zone. I also would like to know if the city has considered whether converting active open space to lodging triggers the unusual circumstances exemption to categorical exemptions by right or conditional use permit. I believe that the city of Huntington Beach plan identifies open space as distinct land use set aside for recreation and resource protection with the zoning ordinance and MAP's implementation of the general plan. Converting active recreation and tennis courts to overnight lodging raises a direct consistency question with the open space intent. I also want to clarify your questions about lighting as someone who knows something about lighting and playing tennis. This is a letter from a member that lives behind the courts. Her name is Mae Jensen, and she's at 6342 Turnberry Circle, behind court number 11, the far back courts that don't have light. They've been full tennis members. They play golf 3 times a week. They play tennis 2 to 3 times a week. Their son plays tennis at least once a week. They spend a lot of money on their membership with dinners, events. They're avid supporters of the club. They're homeowners at Seacliff on the Greens. We live directly behind court number 11, and as you have heard, the lights are an issue. They are obtrusive. They shine into my bedroom until 10 p.m., and that's the existing lights that are further away. This has resulted, previous club management turned the court into a pickleball court without any city council approval. This resulted in my family having to take a legal position against the expansion. Bottom line up front, the club had to move the pickleball courts and ensure no additional lights could be added to courts 12 through 15 based on what they did. So that means they can't put lights back there according to the resident behind the courts. They had to put sound barriers on the pickleball courts to prevent sound, which was also part of the ordinance. They respectfully request all improvements be made without the bungalows being added.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Sean Bolletary, and I own and operate multiple clubs in California, along with the East Coast. And I am also familiar with the Huntington Club. I was a partner on the tennis side with Travis at this particular club for a very short time. And if there's anything that I really miss, is really the members there. They're really serious tennis players. They're avid tennis players. And although I'm known in Orange County or the country as the pickleball guy, starting their first pickleball club, we are first tennis people in our family. I can tell you about ratio of courts to players based on my experience of the clubs that we own and help open around the country. I can also tell you a little bit about some of the comments that were made. I'd like to maybe bring some clarity. One of them being that there is no bungalow or at 3,000 square feet. The biggest one that I saw in the plans is 1,800 square feet. And I will clarify that, but there is none bigger than 1,800 square feet. Now, if there was one that was beyond 1,800 square feet, that's actually better for the members. That means there's less people coming to them. They're bigger ones. They're going to cost a lot more. A member just mentioned that he's assuming that it's going to cost $1,000 a night. Well, I have not been the last 5 years to any hotel at this caliber with less than $2,000 a night at this size. If you calculate that and to what the city would make, it's actually beyond $600,000 a year that the city would make at 80% capacity. The next comment I'd like to make is regarding charity events like Serve It Up Tennis that this club has done so successfully. We run over 130 events in Newport Beach, over 80 tennis tournaments every year with 33 professional tournaments every year, and we have 11 courts, way more members. This club is truly a club that deserves better facilities. When you have 225 members and this many courts, that means you're allowing your members to play pretty much when they want. When I was there, I would call it somewhat of a sleepy club, not very busy. So the main concern, yes, I would say having 2 more light courts would be really great and maybe necessary, and the technology has advanced a lot. So there's a lot of lighting technologies that are available today, which I just installed in our Palm Springs club, that would be probably sufficient enough to not bother neighbors. So instead of, I think, getting opinions from just people who are concerned about their club.
Thank you.
Sure.
Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Addison Sky Brunick Bolletary. I have been a tennis player my whole entire life. My grandfather was Nick Bolletary, and he started the first sports academy in the world that turned into IMG, which my father was actually the vice president of and CEO. On that note, I've been around multiple communities, trained, played. I've seen many with different amenities, and having a upgraded pool, an upgraded clubhouse, adding the social aspect nowadays is such a prominent component to tennis and racket sports, I believe can only add value to the community. As well as the bungalows, I think that is a really unique feature to have to a community, which is another reason will add value. As well as it being a 1 to 2 bedroom per unit, I don't think the noise hindrance that we have as of now for the events, Court 5, of 100 people, I don't think that can compare to the noise hindrance of Court 5, which will be, the event space will be moved to the golf side. So I think that is a benefit when we touch on the noise aspect. In the lights, right now there are only 4 courts available that have lights at night anyway, so. So.
Let's let her speak, please.
Anyway, on that note, there are more than 4 courts that have lights, but if courts with lights get taken away, and we can look into possibly having lights being put in, or possibly newer lights that nowadays don't bother neighbors, that would be a good aspect as well. But being a competitive athlete and playing in college, I know injuries, and I think having the amenity of the performance spa, from what I hear, there are a lot of leagues, and I think that is an exceptional benefit to have when you're having people playing tennis as much as I hear the community is. I feel like that is only a benefit to have, and another reason to adding to the community and the value of the area, because not every community is going to have infrared therapy and different type of performance enhancing features that nowadays it's such a prominent thing with living and health that you see with athletes and people that participate in sports and just care about their genuine health. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Willowbay Brunick. I've played tennis my whole life. I've played tournaments all around the world. I've played every kind of tournament in the United States. I also went on to play Division I tennis myself for 5 years. After seeing this project, the before and afters, I see it adding a great aspect of community and especially the social side. I think it's great, you know, to be able to go out there and play tennis and then also have the side of being able to go to the pool or with your teammates. So I think it's great to have access to all these activities like yoga in the pool. I see that it's being improved, and I think that's also a really great feature that's being added. After that being said, with my experience, I don't see anything bad about the courts and the lighting. I mean, they said that they would bring in lighting to the courts after the change is made. And all I see is that the project is adding and improving to the community and social aspect. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Thank
Can I
you.
have the rest of you speak up, step up to the mic if there is any additional speakers?
Just me. Good.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. My name's Kurt Hilliard. I'm a 12-year resident of Huntington Beach. Actually, I've lived here 3 different times. I kept coming back because the place is great. We love it here. 10-year member of the Huntington Club. I've lived through the highs and lows, through membership changes and management changes and so forth. And a couple things. I think there's been some really great questions asked by the Planning Commission. I applaud some of the deeper dive questions. Thank you to the staff for putting together their overview. I think that was very helpful. I think I would summarize what I've heard today is an old saying that I heard many years ago I think is really relevant, and that is concrete is forever, mistakes included. And that came from a time when we were up in the Northwest. I grew up in the Northwest area, and farmland was quickly being consumed by commercial developers. And the farmers were trying to fight back the developers from taking over the land and building residential complexes and commercial buildings, and the farmland could never come back. And actually, I think there's a case of that here too. When I think about how we got here, there's obviously Robert Hill and his team have got a compelling, investment case to try to come in and upgrade the facilities of the clubs. We're all for that. Thank you, Robert Hill, for being willing to spend money on the club, because there's a couple hundred of us, and half of us here, by the way, that love this place. It's a community for us. It's not just a transactional place, it's a community, and it means something to us. So thank you, Robert Hill, for doing that. We don't think the actual bungalows are the answer, though. And when you talk about disrupting things like Serve It Up for the Troops, which, by the way, the tournament will no longer be held here because there are no longer enough courts. Hear that again. We're raising millions and millions of dollars for charity. We can no longer conduct that particular charitable event here. That's a problem. So when I think about a junior swimming pool and all of the things we've talked about, only some of that is really relevant, I think, to the rest of us who are nearby neighbors. My neighborhood's literally behind the back fence, so I hear the pickleball players and love playing pickleball and tennis. The plans have natural tendencies, these plans have natural consequences, and obviously there's potential lost revenue to the city. I hear $500,000 of revenue coming to the city. If you do the math in reverse, that means $6 million of revenue from bungalow rentals, from only member referrals. So how many of us are gonna refer $6 million worth of revenue a year? I just don't see it. So you have to ask yourself as a planning commission, let's look at the numbers again. Let's challenge what we are hearing, because I just don't think the economics of that play out. If allowed, the city also potentially loses members. Some of the people here will move on. Each member here is spending about $1,000 of membership and transactional revenue, dining and other events and so forth. They'll go to Seal Beach. They'll go to Newport Beach. And ultimately, the city loses the tax revenue. So you got to take the good with the bad. All we're asking the Planning Commission and the staff to do is take the time, breathe deep, and let's look at the economics of it again. Let's ask Robert Hill if there's other ways that he can engage the club to make it more successful for not only the members, but for the city itself. And with that, I bid you a fond farewell. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Are there any other speakers?
Last call for Anthony Deman. Then we have no further speakers.
The only other comment to his concrete one is that drywall will cover a multitude of sins. That being said, since there's no other speakers, we'll now close the public hearing. And the planning commissioners, we will now deliberate this item. We will now deliberate this item since we've closed the hearing.
Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner McGee.
Is there any way we could ask questions of Mr. O'Hill?
Yes, because I believe.
Mr. Hill, can you come
He is a
back down,
representative
please?
as the owner of the property.
Mr. Hill, can you? If you could please leave quietly. Thank you. You're more than welcome to stay. We just need to hear the speaker.
Is it Mr. O'Hill or Mr. Hill?
It's Mr. O'Hill. My grandmother was very Irish.
Thank you for not dropping the O. I appreciate it. I want to ask you, how many members do you think are here right now? You say the Huntington Club has 225 members.
That's my understanding. 225 tennis members. There's also golf members.
So in total, how many members do you have, approximately?
Do you know how many social? I don't know.
About 1,000 in total.
1,000 social?
No.
Oh, total.
So 1,000, that means golf. Is that including golf?
1,000 total social and golf and tennis and pickleball.
Well, that puts it into perspective because I thought 225 was the total there of members, which kind of seemed odd to me. How many members would you say approximately are in the audience right now?
There's 107.
Okay, so we've got 10% of the people in the audience right now.
I don't know. I know that I hope that they all are going to love what's coming.
Yeah, 1,000 total. So if we have 107 people here who are members, did you say? I'm sorry I asked the question. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to get an idea of people for and against this, because if you have many of the members who are against this, then I fear that you won't have the backing to be able to make revenue from those bungalows.
Well, I've been in this position before. Steve Jobs says that usually people don't appreciate or understand what they need and want until they see it. So I believe that this is a tremendous amenity for the members, or I wouldn't be doing it. It's very important for my tenant, and it's very important for all the members. We're bringing something very special.
Do you have any other questions?
The way that I didn't get a chance to mention it last time, but Burnham Woods and Augusta are one of the most private clubs in the world, and they have, facilities to accommodate members and guests of members. This is not a hotel. It is a place for families to come that are children of the members. It's a place for people that are out-of-state members in Arizona or
Okay.
in...
Thank you very much for that information, but we want to move along.
I just want one more question, and that's the Spanish Hills Camarillo. I've never heard of this place, by the way, but there's some kind of partnership with your club and them. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm not exactly sure I'm understanding what you're saying.
Well, what I'm saying is, would the memberships be reciprocal?
Okay. Can I ask the question more specifically? From testimony that was given earlier, there has to be a distinctive measure and restricted membership to the Huntington Club to utilize those bungalows with no reciprocal memberships to other Camarillo, Palm Springs, the Moon, Disneyland, any of those other places. Do you have to have a distinctive membership to the Huntington Beach Club to be able to use those facilities?
You have to be a member of the Huntington Club or a guest of the member of the Huntington Club. So if you are the son or daughter of a member and you want to come for Thanksgiving or Christmas, you can stay at the bungalows. If you are playing in a golf tournament It's a member guest golf tournament, and you are a guest of one of the members, you can stay at the bungalows. If your daughter is getting married and the entire wedding party, some of them can stay in the bungalows. So we've done studies, and yes, this will work.
Who
Who
verifies that?
All the facilities, all of the improvements, and the new clubhouse can't happen without the bungalows.
Thank you. Who verifies that, sir? Mr. O'Hill?
Pardon?
Who verifies that?
So, what's the name of the company that does the studies? Elko?
I wish you would.
I think the question is, who polices it,
Down
really?
here.
How can we be assured?
Who's tasked with that
Elko,
responsibility?
is that the name? Oh, well, I don't know.
It would be verified because obviously there's a membership roster with camaraderie clubs. And just like Augusta, like I said, you can go online, you can see that, hey, these are the cabins, this is what they look like, but you can't book them. You have to call. And so there's membership verification, things like that says, okay, well, what's your membership number? And then, who's going to be staying here? And you get a whole list of information that way. So that way it's not like someone can just, go randomly online or pretend to be a member. It would be, each reservation would be associated with a member's name and membership number.
Sir?
Okay.
Can you also describe what Mr. Andrus referred to as the Palmer Advantage affiliate and how it is the relationship to Huntington Club?
I believe the Palmer Advantage affiliate is a collection of golf clubs, but any reciprocation with the Palmer Advantage Club and members from other Palmer Advantage clubs are allowed to maybe come eat or enjoy certain amenities of the club. That will not give them access to the bungalows and loft.
Okay. And what is the definition of a membership? Like, is it only the memberships that reside at a certain address, or is it? I mean, how wide is?
Like, for instance, the existing golf memberships, tennis memberships, pickleball memberships,
Yeah.
social memberships, those specific memberships with the Huntington Club, that is who would have access to the bungalows
The
and
one
lofts.
person, is a membership considered one person or a household?
There's household memberships.
Okay. Okay.
I think a membership includes husband and wife.
Yeah, there's family memberships, there's household memberships.
And possibly a child under, 21?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd have to look at the lease.
What's to stop somebody just, I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out how we're going to police this. Really.
So the same way it's policed now, you can't go out and play golf if you're not a member. You can't go out and play tennis if you're not a tennis member. You can't play in the member guest tournament. So the people that are in charge, our tenant, in charge of running the bungalows, must make sure under our lease and under your approval that they're a member or a guest of the member.
And once again, we're being genuine about keeping this to members and guests of members. So if there's something that you would like to see that would make you feel more comfortable, I mean, we're open to that.
So what is the relationship to another speaker came up in the Spanish Hills Camarillo?
Spanish Hills is another one of our clubs, and it's operated by the same operator. And they may have reciprocation in terms of coming down playing tennis, pickleball, or even golf. But once again, the bungalows are meant for members of the Huntington Club. If Camaraderie Clubs goes out and gets a lease, elsewhere, some other club in the country or wherever, that doesn't mean that all of a sudden those members are now eligible themselves.
If you're a member of the Huntington Club, you can't play golf at Newport Beach Country Club unless you're a guest. You can't play golf at Spanish Hills Country Club unless you're a guest of a member, and vice versa. That's in the lease.
So let's not go there, guys. Let's keep it. It's between us now. public's had their time to talk. Let's keep it here. If anybody have any other questions for
Yes.
Mr. Goldberg?
Okay, I'm after him.
Great, all right. So I think we're losing a little bit of just sight here on what's going on. This is a private development. This is a privately owned piece of property. There's existing facilities on there now. The only huge controversy that I'm gathering from all of this is that they're eliminating some tennis courts, which is huge. I think that's bigger than the bungalows. I can't believe the bungalows are the big problem when I think it's that if I were a tennis player, I'd be more concerned about tennis. But I'm speaking now. I just want to make sure I'm clear on a couple of points. So, the Serve It Up tennis and golf tournament that raises a ton of money, which I'm surprised they've already made a decision that they can't come back if these courts are eliminated when this project has been approved yet. But I'm going to assume that they're right, that they're not going to come back or what have you. But I don't know that that's part of our decision-making process either. We're not in the business here to decide, as long as they adhere to the rules and the regulations. The only thing that concerned me was we had Mr. Wood, who used to be a commissioner, and so I give him a little credence on when he starts citing chapter and verse on legal. So I'm going to ask legal just for a quick comment on that. He mentioned a specific ordinance that said that we were in some way, if we were to approve this project as presented, that we would be violating some code that I tried to write it down, but can you give me any clarity at all on that?
Staff and legal, including, have looked at this project, and we believe the bungalows are an ancillary use, and they wouldn't violate either CEQA or our own ordinances.
Okay, I appreciate that. Because
So it was 23-06 for the zoning code, and it was a Class 32 exemption that Mr. Wood referenced.
Okay, and you're saying that staff and legal have already looked at that as a potential issue, and as far as staff and you're concerned, we're okay. It can be challenged, obviously. Anything can be challenged in this world.
Anything can be challenged.
Of course.
Staff has looked at this.
Okay.
We're comfortable with you guys making your decision how you're going to make it based off your own expertise, and I don't think the legal concern should be stopping you at this moment.
Okay, and then one, I'll be quick. I know we all want to get our time. This $500,000 number they threw out. Okay, like we said, there's 225 tennis ball and tennis and pickleball, which pickleball, of course, as we know, is just growing exponentially. So who knows how many tennis courts. At some point, we may see a lot more pickleball courts, what I'm saying, but we'll see what happens in the next 10, 15 years. My point is, that number doesn't sound as high, it doesn't sound that unobtainable when you think about the golf memberships and the social memberships. So just so we're all clear, these numbers seem reasonable, okay? And I assume that the $500,000 that you threw out there, you kind of snuck in the weddings and the other events as well as tax revenue, and obviously a nicer facility would command a higher fee and so on and so forth. Am I correct on that when you're using them?
Yes, correct.
Okay, all right. Then I'm satisfied with the information. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay, so when I originally looked at this project, my concern was the open space. And I think somebody brought up the size of Augusta versus the size of the Huntington Club. I have a long history with CCA, the clubs, so that includes Pinehurst, Doral, Homestead, clubs across the country. And most of them do have some sort of residence. So my question is to this group is how do we put forth a stipulation that absolutely clarifies and guarantees that only members of the Huntington Club can rent or reserve these facilities regardless of whether they're sponsoring someone? That would be really important. And my other question, I'll group these together, is I had a leading question about parking. So it's my understanding that even though you can't afford it, but say you were to improve the clubhouse and the pool and the pickle, whatever you're doing without the bungalows, you would still have to upgrade the parking because you don't have 3-to-1 for the number of courts you have. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. We would still have to eliminate tennis courts to create parking.
Is that it, Commissioner Palmer? Any other questions? Commissioner Palmer, is that your only question?
Those are my two questions.
Okay.
Well, the stipulation question is to us.
Mr. Thenis?
Yeah, I didn't see any economic study in, in our package that justifies this $500,000. And, I think if you're going to make a, statement like that, I think it really should be backed up by some documentation. And, I think it's a good idea. I know that you need to, improve the golf course for it to survive. They do need to improve and make changes. But I would be, I would think with all the questions that are being asked, how do we regulate and everything, would you consider pulling this from the agenda tonight and coming back with a few answers to get to the bottom of some of these questions that I think are problematic, I believe.
Do you want to take that one, or do you want me to take that?
No, you take it.
No, we do not want to pull this item.
Okay.
No what?
Is there any further questions from the commissioners as we deliberate this?
Yes, one more. Just that's it. Can legal go over, or maybe zoning, class 32 exemption?
I'm going to allow our consultant from EPD, Connie, who has prepared the justification attachment that you've received.
Right.
And I'll let her answer some of the questions that came up today.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
is this exemption, class 32, defined as an infill? Just so we get the whole banana here, so nobody's left with a dangling participle?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Good
Please
evening,
begin.
Commissioners. So it is, by title, it's called an infill exemption. And the qualifications for a project to be consistent with an infill exemption is that, number one, it's consistent with the general plan, policies, and zoning regulations, which city staff has determined the project is consistent with general plan and zoning. It's located within city limits. This is a city surrounded by urban uses, and the project piece that is being developed is less than 5 acres. So while the project itself is obviously 142 acres, the area of construction is less than 5 acres, so it qualifies for that. And then it has no value for endangered or threatened species, which we looked at that, it doesn't. It would not result in any significant effects related to traffic, noise, air quality, or water quality. And to look into that, we conducted a traffic study of vehicle miles traveled. We conducted a noise study, looked at the impacts on residential uses, the relocation and how that would change. We modeled air quality for both construction and operation. For transportation, the removal of the 4 tennis courts, and if you swap them with the bungalows, actually reduces the number of trips to the site because the tennis courts are more heavily used than the bungalows would be. And then finally, is the site served by utilities and public services, which it is. And then one of these speakers asked whether there are any unusual circumstances. So CEQA does have a checklist of what are considered unusual circumstances. Our document looked at all of those. The project didn't qualify for any of them. So the CEQA document is appropriate. We looked at all of the actions of this project. One of the other questions was, have you looked at all future reasonably foreseeable projects? Now, CEQA doesn't allow you to look at speculative, what happened in the future, but you are looking at the full program, and currently the full program is the tennis courts removal, the bungalows, and some of the amenities being changed. So we looked at the whole of the action of the project.
Thank you very much. Is everybody else done asking questions? Are you good? Well, I'm going to ask my questions now. I didn't know if we were ever going to get to me. I just thought I would, in case you had anywhere to go, right? The safety concern that someone brought up, one of the speakers was in regards to the parking lot. Does this parking lot access and exiting requirement, obviously it was reviewed, does it meet the zoning code standards for a parking lot?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
And it was reviewed not just by planning staff, but by members from our fire department and public works department.
And was there any safety issues? Were there any corrections made or any addendums made or anything like that?
Through the course of an entitlement, there's always going to be comments and corrections, but the project before you is a project that staff can support. In addition to that, I guess there is, to kind of address a comment that came in about people crossing to the other court, there's a pedestrian path of travel that is distinct from the rest of the street. Let me see if I can pull it up for you. And so there were no concerns.
Okay.
Yeah, can you put that up on the screen? Perfect.
So you can see see if I can blow it up, but let's see.
It's where the
You kinda
trees
see it
are.
right there, yeah.
Yeah, it's where the yellow is, right, between the two pickleball courts?
Correct.
That's really the only pedestrian walkway that's going to impede traffic, I guess, for lack of a better term.
But the point is, again, we're having the discussion here, guys. The point is, it does meet all of the requirements that the zoning code requires.
That's correct.
Okay. Again, just in reference to the ongoing back and forth, it's not a hotel. It's ancillary to the use of the Huntington Beach Club. And it's akin to kind of like an A3 assembly being like an assembly hall. Any meeting room in that building, in that area, would still be called an A3. So the accessory units, the ancillary use, is really in line. What I really would like you to do, because people are going between Title 21 and Title 22, I would just like a clear roadmap so that everybody understands how you went through the process, just the code sections, and that ultimately we know that this is in line with what the zoning code is. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So in Chapter 231, which addresses of the Huntington Beach Zoning and Subdivision Ordinance, it addresses open space district and the listed uses. And the principal use, again, is the tennis and golf course. And it allows for accessory uses. And accessory uses can be, as mentioned before, multiple uses, including, like, for example, the maintenance building that's there on site. It's not listed as that, as a listed use, but it is an accessory use that serves the principal use. And that is how staff came to the conclusion that this is an amenity that serves the principal use, which is a tennis and golf course, per Chapter 213. And then if you also go to the zoning code in Chapter 204, which talks about use classification, specifically accessory uses, it talks that it's uses and structures that are incidental to the principally permitted or conditionally permitted use or structure on site, and are found in similar types of sites. And so, again, staff looked at that and determined that this would be considered an accessory use. And I guess another example of another open space area that allows kind of a use that's not explicitly listed would be our beaches. Our beaches have parking spaces which allow RV camping. It's not a listed use if you look at our downtown specific plan, but it is an ancillary use that serves that beach area. It still contributes to recreation. It allows people to do overnight stays, but it's not listed as lodging is not listed as a permitted use, but it has been evaluated and determined that that is an appropriate ancillary use that serves the principal use.
Right. So that being said, and along with the definition of an infill, the word underutilized comes to what the potential of the property is, which again is the desire of the owner because it's private property, correct?
Correct.
So even though there are memberships, it's still the vision, for lack of a better term, is really the desire of the owner in so much that it meets all the zoning codes and for what is before us tonight. And as far as we know, all of those, your roadmap with the zoning code, what an infill is, we all understand what the issue is, but clearly what they're trying to do is they're trying to utilize something that's underutilized at this point. And at some point, obviously the pool and all this property is going to be improved. It's not going to continue to deteriorate, for lack of a better term. They're actually investing in the community. They're not taking away from it, from what I'm seeing. So, anybody else have any questions? Do I have oh, you have a question? Okay.
Go ahead.
No, he doesn't have, he wants to make a motion.
Oh.
You want to go to
I
a motion?
want to make a comment, just one comment, that's all. And that's, there's been, I was reading through some of the emails and there were people questioning the disparity of, the municipal code for residences and this. But it seems to me that the criteria for people who are in these bungalows is far more draconian than would be in residences. I mean, anybody could take up residence for a short-term rental in somebody's ADU if they were on site, and or in their house if they took a short-term vacation. But only guests, only members of the Huntington Club can actually use these bungalows. So there is a little bit of a disparity, but it's in favor of residents, people who own homes here. So I would say that's a consideration.
Thank you. Mr. Babineau, is this the last potential question or comment?
I think what concerns me about the project, obviously, is the reducing the number of lighted courts. But I do think that lighting has come a long way, right, like everything else. And Commissioner Goldberg actually said, he talked about a race. If you look at the overhead race in Las Vegas, for instance, the Formula One race, I mean, the only thing that's lit is the track. There's no bleeding of light. So I think we can kind of put that concern aside, but I think we need to come up with a couple of additional, if we're taking 3 lighted courts away, I'd feel a lot better if we were at least giving a couple back to, for the members that, some people work, right? And they want to play at night, so.
Can we add that as a condition?
I would not only agree with that, I support that.
Well, there you go. Then we'll make it a condition. How about that,
Right,
Mr.
we make it,
Babineau?
and but keep in mind, I remember, I don't mean to chime in, but I will, because the staff said, all we can really do is stipulate that they make every attempt to do it, because if the residents shoot it down or they find a way to stop it, there's nothing, we can't force the hands. That's got to be played out through the regular procedure, right? So we're clear on that? Okay.
That is correct.
Well, isn't there already standing agreement on what can be lit and what cannot be lit? Did we not talk about that earlier?
It's the six, let's see. The 6 courts that are right here are conditioned to only be available during the day, meaning no lighting. We can add a condition that states that the applicant will work with staff to go through the process. It is an entitlement plan amendment, which means it basically open up that entitlement to review that condition to see if that condition can be amended. And it would have to be reviewed, analyzed, and see if there's any particular impacts that could be mitigated. There's been improvements in technology, if that makes a difference. But again, it is a discretionary permit.
Right.
So there is no guaranteed approval, but that condition can be added to require the applicant to go that process.
Well, I think that's the most we could expect then.
Well, I have a question. Aren't we asking for lighting on the courts that are already allowed to be lit and not the ones that are disallowed?
They can stay the same.
Okay.
At this point, we're going to deliberate. Thank you. Can I get a motion?
Just one.
Well, let's
You
get
guys cut me off. I had more questions.
All right, all right.
I guess when I look at the project, right, and I personally walked the facility on Saturday, and the facility is 40 years old, right? And I think at some point it's going to have to be refurbished, and it sounds like to me that the improvements are incredible, okay? So I understand not wanting to lose tennis courts, existing tennis courts, but there's a little bit of a trade-off in my opinion, right? And I don't belong there, obviously, but I mean, if you have all of these great amenities and we have to remove maybe a couple of courts or 3 courts, but we can light 2 of the 3 that are being removed, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like the upgrades are, to me, it just seems like the upgrades are tremendous, you know, for what you're having to remove, but it's just my opinion.
Would you like to make a motion on top of that, Mr. Babineau? Or would somebody else like to make a motion?
I'll make the
Thank you.
motion that we approve this project as presented with the additional request that they go back and to staff and try to work through and try to light up with the residents' approval, of course, the whole whatever the process is, basically, to as many courts as they can.
I'll second that.
Okay, great. And then I was going to mention one thing to the people that are actually here and for the developers. I would tell you the smartest thing you'll ever do if you really do want to light up another tennis court and get these residents on board and be on team with you guys is take one of the existing lit courts and add the new type of lighting and show them how much less ambient lighting would go. Because once they see that, they're going to want you to do all those tennis courts with this new lighting. I'm just going to.
I had one additional, I wanted to close the loophole. I wanted to put a condition in there on the reciprocal clubs not being able to rent the bungalows, but that you strictly had to be a member only of the Huntington Beach Club. Yes,
So,
ma'am.
Just
Is
to
that a
quickly
motion?
clarify that, so there is already an existing, suggested condition that states that it should be limited to club members. Would it be acceptable to the commission to say it would be limited to the Huntington Club members and their guests only, so that it's specifically for this club
Only strictness, yeah,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Wonderful.
I like that. So with that, we have a motion and it's been seconded. Motion by Goldberg, seconded by Dominic McGee. Commissioner?
We're moving.
About the financial numbers, any numbers at the moment would be sufficient. 6-figure numbers, to me, would be sufficient. We're in dire straits as a city, and we need the revenue.
So right now, we're going to vote on this. It's before you guys, if you could vote.
Yep.
Commissioner Babineau did not come up. Don't push anything. He's got it.
We have all ayes. Motion carries.
The Planning Commission's action is final unless an appeal is filed to the City Council within 10 days. An appeal must include the reasons for the appeal and the fee and shall be filed with the City Clerk's office within 10 days.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the staff for all their hard work.
Thank you as well. Have a good night, guys.
Next on the
Good job.
next on the agenda is the consent calendar to approve some minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make
as
a
submitted?
motion.
I'll second
it. Oh, you
What?
get it. It's yours.
Okay, thank you. I'll second it. I get it.
I motion, Helen seconded.
Can we all just say aye?
Don't push so hard, Ann.
So this is for 11:20. This is for 11:20?
Yeah.
All right, we have 6 ayes. Commissioner Goldberg abstains. Motion carries.
Okay, next on the agenda are planning items. Can staff provide a report?
Yes, Chair. We currently do not have any items scheduled for the February 10th Planning Commission meeting. If that holds true, we will post a notice of cancellation the week prior.
Okay.
I
And
approve.
Wait, we did not do the December 9th minutes.
No, that was the previous one.
did I mess up?
I'm just trying to help.
Anybody else tired?
Thank you, Commissioner Pellman. I appreciate
Can I
it.
make a motion to
So
approve?
where are we at? What, are we on the consent calendar? Can we already did that,
Yeah.
December?
I make a motion to approve the minutes
I'll
of
second
December
it.
9th, 2025.
Thank you, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we close for the evening, planning
We have
commissioners,
we have to vote first. Come on. All right, rookie mistake, it's okay.
did it go away?
You did a good job.
I did. I don't know. Did I come up?
Do you vote yay?
Yay.
Okay.
I'm a
We
yay,
have
yay.
All ayes, motion carries.
Okay, so now can I go to before? Before we close for the evening, planning commissioners, do you have any comments to provide? We'll start on my right.
Happy New Year, everybody. That's about it.
Okay, Happy New Year. I am a planning commissioner liaison to the Historic Resource Board, and I just want to tell you, I find that that board to be fascinating and interesting, and you can't really see this, but they go over, there's this one house at 324 9th Street in Huntington Beach, was built in 1913. This is an example of the homes of that era. It was Mildred Manning, daughter of the first mayor of Huntington Beach, Ed Manning. And they lived there when she got married in 1924. So anyway, I just thought I would share, they do those sort of things, and they bring pictures and, you know, and they kind of show you the insides of it. It's fascinating. So,
They're demolishing one, right?
no, not this one.
Not that one, but
No, but
isn't there one?
they have like these companies that I guess you call them, they try and take the pieces of these historic homes and I guess have a repurpose for them. Like if another home needs to be fixed and they want to use the same material, then they go to this person that helps, you know, with the taking apart of the home. So anyway, it's fascinating.
Thank you very much for sharing that. I think I read that, by the way. Mr. Babineau, Commissioner Babineau. I'll go over to Mr. Goldberg. Thank you. Appreciate all your words of encouragement, by the way. Ms. Palmer.
Happy New Year to everybody and happy birthday to our former chair.
Yeah, no. And I'd like to say Happy New Year to everyone else as well. Good luck.
Just like to note for the record, I think we went 7-0 except for Mr. Goldberg having to abstain because he wasn't here. So congratulations, guys. That's a team effort. Thank you for your support. God bless America and Happy New Year. And with that being said, it says this is the last item. We are hereby adjourned to the next planning commission whenever that date is. Ricky will let us know. And thank you again for all your support, Mr. Ramos.